do.
But there are those who will question her honor.
It doesn't matter whether she gets this award or not. I'm gonna find out the truth, I guarantee you that.
Academy Award winner Matt Damon, Meg Ryan, and Academy Award winner Denzel Washington. Courage Under Fire. In 2 weeks on the ABC Big Picture Show. Wednesday.
I'm a management consultant.
There's someone new at the workplace.
I wanted to get to know you.
Just want to know what he looks like.
You're not jealous, are you?
D.B. Sweeney guest stars.
Somebody needs to churn up the water.
I did a terrible thing.
And all new Once and Again. Wednesday, 10/9 Central on ABC.
Next at 11, we're live with breaking news in the Bronx. A fire at an apartment building turns deadly. And a break in the case of a murdered high school football player.
Come shake up your winter with the Mickey D's Dollar Menu. Enjoy a delicious double cheeseburger or tasty McRib Jr. sandwich for just $1 each. Choose from a whole menu of great tastes every day, each for just $1. Like our one-of-a-kind McChicken sandwich or a zesty fajita. This winter, shake it up with the Mickey D's Dollar Menu.
We love to see you smile.
The Lotto jackpot's $12 million. Find out if it's yours live next. This is the news leader, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
More than 1,000 people are reported missing in the aftermath of a deadly quake in Central America. But first, breaking news tonight in the Bronx. A firefighter suffers a fatal heart attack while battling a deadly apartment fire. Good evening, everyone. I'm Sandra Bookman.
And I'm Tim Fleischer. 2 people are dead and another woman is clinging to life, all victims of a fast-moving fire in the Bronx tonight. And now firefighters are mourning the loss of one of their own. Jim Dolan is live in Morrisania with the latest. Jim.
Tim, it is the kind of story that you have to brace yourself for. A numbing tragedy here in the Bronx where a firefighter was killed trying to save others, and of course it doesn't end there. The people on the 4th floor lived behind steel reinforced doors for extra security, but that extra security made it that much more difficult and that much more time consuming for firefighters to get inside to rescue them. Trapped in the smoke and the flame that was spreading through the apartment, 2 people, an adult couple, both died. And their son, their adult son, is in critical condition with burns over 80% of his body. Friends and neighbors wept at the tragedy on the 4th floor. 2 people dead, a 3rd injured, and a firefighter in cardiac arrest from trying to move around in the heavy smoke and the debris inside. They had to throw some of the debris out the window and onto the ground below. The piles of clothes and books and magazines inside made rescue almost impossible. NYPD Sergeant Jerry Gonzalez was one of those who went inside to help.
There's a lot of bags of clothing, a lot of garbage piled up.
It's been impossible to get through.
This is a city-owned building. A lot of the apartments were sealed with double locks. Firemen had a hard time getting in.
What'd they do to get in?
They used the crowbars, the Kelly tools, and some cutting equipment.
It was a nightmare because we have extra security put on these apartments that are what we call warehouses. And it presents an unusual problem for us to get in and search the people. Also, we found that in the apartment there's a lot of clutter, which makes it much more difficult to search in the heavy smoke and the heat to find them and remove them.
2 people died in the smoke and fire that was blasting through the windows when the fire department first arrived on the scene.
We had a heavy body of fire, curtain of fire on the 4th floor with reports that there were handicapped people trapped. We sent our rescue units up immediately to start to evacuate them, to try to crawl in through the fire and the smoke and remove them.
Of course, it's still early. It's not yet clear what caused the fire, but one firefighter said there was so much debris inside, almost anything could have set it all off. Again, 3 people dead, one of them a veteran firefighter, and another person in critical condition. Reporting live from the Bronx, Jim Dolan, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
A sad story, Jim. Thank you very much. Now to our other big story, that deadly earthquake in Central America. It measured 7.6 on the Richter scale. Tonight, an estimated 1,200 people are reported missing. At least 61 are confirmed dead. That quake hit in the heart of Central America, the epicenter off the coast of El Salvador, near the capital of San Salvador. That's where a neighborhood was buried under a landslide triggered by the earthquake. There are reports that hundreds of homes were destroyed in that landslide. Rescue crews continue the frantic search for survivors. As of now, again, 61 people have been killed. killed, but authorities believe many more are dead. The quake was in fact so powerful, it is said to have swayed buildings in Mexico City, some 600 miles away.
So far, so good. That is the word tonight from doctors treating former President Ronald Reagan. He underwent surgery earlier today for a broken hip suffered in a fall at his California ranch yesterday. ABC's Craig Gropper has the latest from Santa Monica.
The former president is resting tonight in stable condition. Doctors at St. John's Health Center are calling his surgery a success. They spent an hour and a half this morning operating on Mr. Reagan's fractured right hip.
He underwent surgery, which consisted of placement of a screw and plate and a series of smaller screws to repair the broken bones.
Mr. Reagan broke his hip in a fall Friday afternoon at his Bel Air home. His wife Nancy rode with him in the ambulance to the hospital. The patient's age, he'll turn 90 next month, and the fact he suffers from Alzheimer's disease will factor into his recovery.
It presents a challenge. Patients who have hip fractures have a lot of challenges. This is certainly one of them.
This is not the first major surgery for the former president. After an assassination attempt in 1981, he was treated for near-fatal gunshot wounds. The kind of surgery Mr. Reagan undertook this morning is not uncommon. An estimated 300,000 Americans, mostly elderly, suffered hip fractures last year.
The hip, the way it is constructed, because of the fact that it's a bone that's angled right at the edge, that just happens to be a weak spot. It's a very vulnerable spot.
The two-term president was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease in 1994. Since informing the country about his plight in this letter, he has remained in near seclusion. President Clinton among those expressing concern over Mr. Reagan's latest medical setback.
I sent my concern and Hillary's to Mrs. Reagan and President Reagan, and of course I wish him well in this surgery, and our prayers are with him.
Doctors tell us if all goes well, Mr. Reagan should be here at this hospital for the next 7 to 10 days. From here, he'll go home, and at home, he'll continue his physical therapy. In Santa Monica, I'm Craig Gropper reporting for ABC News.
A 19-year-old Queens man is behind bars tonight charged with killing a high school football star. Police say Charles Seeley shot and killed 17-year-old Thomas Johnson, an all-star football player from Christ the King High, Wednesday night. They say the victim was trying to work out a dispute between his cousin and Seeley.
A good, valuable young man, that being the victim, Thomas Johnson. On another account, they lost another individual who will just probably spend the rest of his life in prison.
Seeley is charged with second-degree murder.
And Sandra, new information tonight about a shootout in Orange that has left a suspect dead and 2 police officers critically wounded. Essex County prosecutors say it was the suspect who fired the first shot.
They killed him, man. They murdered him.
To those who knew him, 23-year-old Shantez Everett was a loving father of 3 who was in the wrong place at the wrong time. But to police, he fit the description of the robber they've been looking for. The Essex County prosecutor says police have been staking out a gas station on Scotland Road in Orange that had been robbed 8 times since May. Last night, police spotted Everett approaching the station, then backed away. Detective David Lemongello attempted to stop him, but the suspect opened fire, hitting the detective in the chest and left arm. Prosecutors say Lemongello never had a chance to fire his weapon.
The police started coming from all corners of the earth, it seemed.
Amy Rodriguez looked out of her window as the suspect ran behind her house, followed closely by an officer. Moments later, gunfire erupted.
We saw somebody jump into the bushes. A police officer had come around the corner, asked him, to put down his weapon just to come out. He's trying to, I guess, give him a chance. And then gunfire started happening between the 2 of them.
Prosecutors say Everett shot Officer Kenneth McGuire in the stomach and right leg. McGuire and 2 other responding officers fired back, shooting Everett several times. Prosecutors also say there were 5 arrest warrants out for Everett, including one for aggravated assault with a weapon. His family tonight says this is a case of mistaken identity.
He ain't robbed nothing. He wasn't that type of boy. He was not like that, yo.
It is still not clear which officer fired the shot that killed Everett. An autopsy is expected to be completed by tomorrow.
A shakeup in Suffolk County tonight. The top cop is sending a strong message that officers will be held accountable. A captain, 2 lieutenants, and a sergeant have been transferred out of the department's highway division. This comes after 4 women complained they were forced to strip rather than face DWI charges. 3 of the complaints involved Officer Frank Wright.
New York City's finest were called into action today to help a snake bite victim in Virginia. A 42-year-old snake collector was bitten in the hand by a rare cobra this morning, and then he was rushed to the Virginia Poison Center. The closest serum was at the Bronx Zoo. So the two officers from the NYPD Aviation Unit flew the anti-venom to the center, where the victim is listed in critical but stable condition.
Westchester County goes after internet criminals. Coming up on Eyewitness News, we'll show you how detectives caught two men suspected of preying on children online.
Also ahead, why New York City's new plan to avoid a power crisis this summer has some residents hot under the collar.
All eyes are on Giants Stadium for the game between the Giants and the Vikings. It's going to be a good day for a football game tomorrow. We'll see a decent amount of sunshine. Temperatures around 40 degrees at kickoff time. Not a problem out of the winds. We'll have a look at your 5-day forecast in just a few minutes. You keep it tuned with us right here at Eyewitness News.
Good. Better. Best. The best lease of the year on the Mercury Sable LS Touring Edition. This luxurious Sable has moonroof, leather,